working. It is? Okay, maybe battery, yeah. Este está bien. Perfecto. Good afternoon, everyone here in Italy around the G7 meeting. We, the parliamentarians of fossil fuel future, especially the committee, are here. And we thank you for participating. Also, some of the speakers of our morning event. Thank you for being here. Colleagues, good afternoon, everybody, and especially to Livia, and Honorable Livia Duarte from Brazil, and Honorable Rosa Galvez from Canada, and myself, Cecilia Requena, Senator from Bolivia. We are here for a very relevant occasion. We are going to make the public presentation, the launch of our Global Parliamentarians Inquiry for a Fossil-Free Amazon. We are about to finish the inquiry on the global sphere, on the same issue, a fossil fuel phase out. We also, as a global network, have had the chance to organize 2 national inquiries in Mexico and Colombia. And some of us have thought it will be a great idea, an important idea, a necessary idea to work specifically on the Amazonas region. The Amazonas region, as you know, and Honorable Duarte will explain, is a very important, a critical ecosystem, eco-region for the whole planet. It regulates the climate. That is the importance of the Amazonas region. And inside of the 2030, the COP that is coming in Brazil after the COP from Azerbaijan, we really want to continue contributing to the public debate and the better knowledge of what is at stake, what's happening, but especially what we can do as parliamentarians along with society to do what we have to do in order to tackle the climate crisis, which is already in plain development, making people suffer a lot, including in the Amazonas region that has suffered drought, for instance, and a historical drought. So we are continuing our work in this area, and I will just present to you the committee as it is. Yes, thank you. The committee with the parliamentarians that already involved in this inquiry. The next one, please. Go ahead, one more. Those are the parliamentarians already included in our inquiry committee. From Brazil, Honorable Celia Chacriabá, Honorable Ivan Valente, Honorable Livia Duarte. She's here with us this afternoon. You will hear from her. Myself from Bolivia, Honorable Rosa Galvez from Canada, Honorable Juan Carlos Lozada from Colombia, as well as Honorable Andrés Cancimance, also from Colombia. From Ecuador, Honorable Yahiren Noriega, and from Peru, Honorable Ruth Luque and Honorable Sigrid Bazan. This committee will be enriched with additional parliamentarians from the region, but also, as is the case from Rosa, that she comes from Canada, with parliamentarians from key states that are somehow related, involved in what's happening in the Amazonas region, helping protect it, or maybe sometimes helping destroy it. And that's why we need parliamentarians to help us in those countries which are financing the destruction of the Amazonas region, to work together. We need the global network. So this committee will be enriched, complemented with parliamentarians from that are not from the Amazonas region, but from abroad. We understand this as a global challenge. So this is what I have to say for the time being, and I would like Honorable Livia Duarte to explain why. Why is it that the Amazonas region is so critically important for us, but also for the planet? Honorable, you have the floor.
Amazônia, bem comum planetário sob ameaça. Por que a Amazônia é bem comum planetário? A floresta amazônica é dos 7 ecossistemas chaves do planeta para combater as mudanças climáticas. Ela não é apenas importante sumidouro de carbono, mas também o lar de quase 3 milhões de espécies de plantas e de animais.
So why the Amazon it's under threat? Well, and why the Amazon it's a planetary common good. But the Amazon rainforest is one of the 7 ecosystems that are key for the planet in order to tackle the climate changes. And it's not only an important carbon sink tank, but also the home for almost 3 million species of plants and animals.
Cerca de 2 milhões de indígenas de mais de 400 povos, incluindo alguns que vivem em isolamento voluntário e detêm conhecimentos ancestrais essenciais para a conservação da floresta. Cerca de 45% das grandes áreas intocadas de floresta são territórios indígenas.
Around 2 million of indigenous people and more of 400 populations, including some that they lived in a voluntary isolation. They have all the ancestral knowledge essential for the conservation of the rainforest. And around 45% of the big areas are untouched of the rainforest that are indigenous territories.
O rio Amazonas transporta 20% da água doce do planeta, o que o torna o maior rio do mundo em volume. Mas sua estrutura ecológica também produz um dos sistemas hídricos mais complexos, com 12 das 13 economias da América do Sul dependentes dele.
And the Amazon River transports 20% of water of the planet, and it makes it one of the main rivers in volume of the world. And its ecological structure also produces one of the most hydric systems, most complex hydric systems, with 12 of the 13 economies of South America that depend on it.
Conforme demonstrado em estudo científico, a importância desse ecossistema para a estabilização do clima do planeta é crucial. Isso torna o que grupo de cientistas chamou de bens comuns planetários.
It was showcased in a scientific study, the importance of this ecosystem for the stabilization of climate of the planet is crucial. And it also becomes it makes that a group of scientists called it as one of the main planetary goods of the world.
A urgência de proteger a Amazônia. Esse ecossistema tem sido ameaçado por várias atividades industriais, legais e ilegais nas últimas décadas, o que significa uma degradação dramática da bacia e dos eventos ecológicos que ela oferece à região e ao planeta.
And there's an urgency to protect the Amazon region. This ecosystem has been threatened for different industrial activities, legal and illegals, in the last decades. That means that is a dramatical degradation of the basin and of the ecological services that it offers for the region and for the planet.
Além disso, o aquecimento global afetou o clima que o próprio bioma necessita para sua estabilidade, especialmente as secas extremas nos últimos anos tiveram consequências devastadoras, levando à escassez de água e, portanto, afetando a saúde das pessoas.
And besides that, the global warming had affected the climate in its biome and that it needs for its own stability. Specifically, the extreme droughts in the last years had devastating consequences, provoking lack of water and also affecting health of population that lives around.
Países como o Brasil e o Equador sofreram as consequências da estação seca na Amazônia para a sua geração de eletricidade.
Countries such as Brazil and Ecuador, they suffer the consequences of the drought season in the Amazon in order to generate their own electricity.
A Amazônia passou da remoção de quase 2 bilhões de toneladas de gás carbônico na década de 1990 para apenas 1,5 bilhão de toneladas no início da década de 2020. As áreas da Amazônia que emitem mais gás carbônico do que capturaram, tornando-se emissoras líquidas de gás carbônico, especialmente no Brasil. Por isso, é essencial trabalhar para conter todas as frentes que ameaçam o ecossistema.
So the Amazon actually that had a remotion of almost 2 billion tons of CO2 in the 19th, and it reduced to 1.2 billion of tons at the beginning of the decade of 2020. There are areas in the Amazon that generate more CO2 instead of capturing it, and that makes liquid emittance of CO, especially in Brazil. That's why it's essential to work in order to contain all fronts that threaten the ecosystem.
Também a urgência de transicionar combustíveis fósseis.
And there's also the urgency of transitioning away from fossil fuels.
Existem várias ameaças ao bioma amazônico, mas no centro delas está o setor de combustíveis fósseis. Quanto mais combustíveis fósseis são queimados em todo o mundo, mais o maior ecossistema de floresta tropical do mundo é enfraquecido.
And we have also several threats of to the Amazonic biome, but the center of them is the sector of fossil fuels. So more fossil fuels are burned in the whole world, the ecosystem it's more threatened, and it gets it's worse for the rainforest.
O petróleo da Amazônia tem um impacto triplo nas emissões de carbono. Pelo desmatamento da floresta, onde estão as instalações desse produto. Os oleodutos e as rotas de acesso. 2, níveis mais altos de gás carbônico na atmosfera pela destruição de um dos melhores sumidouros de carbono do planeta. 3, pela queima de petróleo e gás, gerando assim mais gases.
And the oil in the Amazonian has a triple impact in the emissions of the carbon emissions. First of all, because of the deforestation of the rainforest, where we have the facilities, the production facilities, the oleoducts and the routes that we have, the ways to access to the facilities, and also more high levels of CO2 in the atmosphere due to the destruction of one of the best carbon sink tanks of the planet, and also due to the burning of oil and gas, generating even more GEs.
Vários estudos expuseram e comprovaram os impactos da produção de petróleo e gás na Amazônia. Esses impactos não só causaram degradação ambiental, perda de biodiversidade, desmatamento, contaminação de sistemas hídricos, solo e do ar, mas também desestabilização social, efeitos na saúde de centenas de milhares de pessoas e violação de direitos humanos, além da corrupção.
Also, several studies have exposed and proven the impacts of oil and gas production in the Amazon. These impacts have not only caused environmental degradation, loss of biodiversity, deforestation, contamination of water, soil and air systems, but also social destabilization, health effects on hundreds of thousands of people, violation of human rights and corruption.
Enquanto isso acontece, a ciência em todo o mundo estabeleceu que, para limitar o aumento da temperatura a 1,5 graus Celsius, que é o limite seguro, não deve haver novos projetos de petróleo, gás ou carvão em nenhum lugar do planeta.
While this is happening, science around the world has established that in order to limit the temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is the safe limit, there must be no new oil, gas, and coal projects anywhere on the planet.
Na Amazônia, os mais afetados pela crise climática são, ao mesmo tempo, os mais afetados pelas indústrias de petróleo e gás. 43% das áreas petrolíferas estão localizadas em áreas protegidas ou territórios indígenas.
In the Amazon, the most affected by the climate crisis are at the same time the most affected by the oil and gas industry. 43% of hydrocarbon oil and gas areas are located within protected areas and indigenous territories.
A atividade de hidrocarbonetos demonstrou ser ineficiente os termos de distribuição de riqueza, geração de emprego e renda em grande escala. Com poucas exceções, os territórios onde são produzidos petróleo e gás não apresentam bons índices de desenvolvimento humano. E, em geral, o que vemos nessas nações é uma concentração de riqueza nas mãos de poucos.
Hydrocarbon activity has proven to be inefficient to distribute wealth and generate employment and income on a massive scale. With few exceptions, the territories where oil and gas are produced do not have good human development indexes. In general, what we see in these nations is a concentration of wealth in the hands of a few.
Em 2020, os lotes de exploração de hidrocarbonetos ocuparam 9,4% da área total da Amazônia continental. Ou seja, cerca de 630 mil quilômetros quadrados para a extração de petróleo e gás, mais do que a área da Espanha, França ou Alemanha.
By 2020, hydrocarbon blocks in all stages occupied 9.4% of the total area of the continental Amazon. That is about 630,000 square kilometers destined to oil and gas extraction, more than the area of Spain, France, or Germany.
60% dos blocos amazônicos continentais estão localizados na região andino-amazônica, que é, ao mesmo tempo, a região de maior biodiversidade do planeta devido às suas condições geográficas.
60% of the continental Amazon blocks are located in the Andean Amazon region, which is at the same time the most diverse region of the planet due to its geographic conditions.
Há também razões econômicas. Além de não promover o desenvolvimento social, a exploração de petróleo esgota recursos que poderiam promover atividades sustentáveis, como a pesca e artesanato, e deixa estragos em seus territórios que duram décadas.
There are also economic reasons. In addition to not promoting social development, oil exploitation depletes resources that could promote sustainable activities such as industrial or artisanal fishing, while leaving ravages in their territories that last for decades.
De acordo com um estudo realizado por várias ONGs da Colômbia, Equador e Peru, a operação de projetos de exploração de hidrocarbonetos por empresas canadenses viola até 9 direitos básicos e coletivos.
So according to a study carried out by several NGOs in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru, the operation of hydrocarbon exploitation projects by Canadian companies violates up to 9 basic and collective rights.
Thank you very much, Honorable Duarte from Brazil, Belém, actually, in the middle of the Amazonas region. She explained us the importance of this biome, the Amazonas region. I would like to add to what I already said about the inquiry. that we will, as we did with the global inquiry, study, the situation, how it is, the impacts that fossil fuel exploration and exploitation is having in the Amazonas region, the victims, the violences. Plenty of violences going on in the Amazonas region against indigenous peoples, indigenous territories, protected areas, and population in general. We are also going deep into the alternatives we have, and that includes renewable energies. All these things and financing, which is so important and will be so important in the coming COP. So all these issues are going to be investigated in our inquiry in order for us parliamentarians to have inputs to improve our job, but also decision makers from the executive branch at the international level at COP30, for instance. Another issue, an important issue of our inquiry, has also to do with the G7 responsibility. And for that, I give the floor to Honorable Rosa Galvez from Canada. She will explain us the importance of this perspective on this project we are launching today. You have the floor.
Thank you. So good afternoon to you all, and thank you so much. I feel so honored to be part of this group of distinguished parliamentarians and to put emphasis on the inquiry for a fossil-free Amazon. So as you know, as has been reported by the media and researchers, a handful of global giants dominate the industrialization of the Amazon rainforest. They are extracting tens of billions of dollars of raw material every year. And that there is a lot of value that is being sucked out of this region of the Amazon with relatively little going back in. So Livia has explained, what are the physical reasons, and Cecilia has explained also the humanitarian reasons, social issues for what we have to protect this common good, the Amazon region. But actually, it's more important than that is the human survival. As it has been pointed out, the Amazon region regulates the climate of almost the whole planet. And we really need to share the responsibility. And the G7 countries actually can do a lot if the political will is there. So almost every country in the world, including those of the G7, have committed to follow the international agreement in the framework of both the biodiversity and the climate change conventions, where the interdependence of these two issues are a critical role in pressing the quality of life for all in this planet is emphasized by many research and organizations at national and international level. However, the environmentally friendly policies of the financial sector, all companies, and even some governments, unfortunately, are limited to legally protected areas, but exclude indigenous areas and territories that are crucial for conserving the Amazon biodome. For this reason, the vast majority of the Amazon remains open and exposed to business, and this business sometimes is predatory, highly destructive. From 2016 to 2023, 38 of the world's 60 largest banks have financed oil and gas exploitation in the Amazon in Brazil, in Peru, Ecuador, and Colombia, with 11.15 billion. 24 of 38 banks comes from the developed countries, in particularly the G7. 16 banks of the first 20 in the list belong to the G7, while the remaining 4 belongs to the European Union. The 24 G7 banks have financed 8.86 billion, equivalent to 79.5% of total financing. We can list these banks. So in North America, US, we have Citibank, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. And from my country, Canada, we have Scotiabank, Royal Bank of Canada, CIBC, Toronto Dominion Bank. From Europe, we have Germany, the Deutsche Bank and DZ Bank. From Italy, the Intesa San Paolo and UniCredit. And from France, la Société Générale, le Groupe BPCE, BNP Paribas, et le Crédit Agricole. From UK, we have HSBC, Barclays, Standard Chartered, Lloyds Banking Group. And from Japan, we have Mizuho Financial, Mitsubishi UFG Financial Group, and SMBC Group. Of the 90 oil and gas companies active in the Amazon, 26 are from G7 countries and 18 from European Union countries. In addition to banks and oil companies, there are also private equity and pension funds that invest in these companies, as well as insurance that facilitate their operation and investment and have their headquarters in G7 countries. As you know, the financial sector, the greenhouse gas emissions, is more in the Scope 3, meaning the finance emissions. So how this inquiry will hold G7 nations accountable, and how this inquiry will try to promote a just transition to renewable energy. So here are some of our ideas. Considering that the Amazon, as we are saying, is a planetary common good, conservation policies for the biodome must transcend those of the countries that host the rainforest. The Global Research Committee will ensure that public and private institutions align their policies with the protection of this vital ecosystem. The G7 countries are among the nations that exert the greatest causes and pressure on the destruction of the Amazon, and also on the consumption of the oil that is produced there. For this reason, the different research topics will naturally be related to these countries and their current commercial, financial, and diplomatic practices. Under a climate justice framework, the G7 countries have the greatest historical responsibility to combat the climate crisis, making the Amazon a key focus for climate finance. This is very important because in the political speeches, most of the time we try to blame the countries of emerging economies that have a total greenhouse gas emissions very high. But we must look into historical records and see also the historical contributions to the greenhouse gas that are today in the atmosphere. In addition to the obligations derived from climate justice, there is still so much to develop in terms of international cooperation for the care of the common good, such as the Amazon rainforest. The G7 can play a strategic role in creating and promoting cooperative policies that transcend the financing. The 40 million Amazon inhabitants should also benefit from renewable energy sources. However, the general socioeconomic conditions of the regions, the introduction of these technologies must initially be supported by international cooperation mechanisms, where the G7 country could also play a key role. For all these reasons, the Amazon has the potential to be declared the first region on the planet to prohibit any new expansion of oil, gas, or coal production. Thus, the G7 economic political power will be indispensable to make this world commitment possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Galvez, and we are wrapping up, finishing our presentation. Before that, I would like to make some redundance on the inquiry objectives. Two of them. Investigate the current state of fossil fuel extraction in the Amazon, especially focusing oil and gas. 2B, explore opportunities for a just and equitable transition towards renewable energy systems for the Amazon people. 4 big themes are going to be developed. The current state of fossil fuel extraction, that includes financing, national plans consistency. We will make an analysis about how coherent and constructive or not are they. International cooperation mechanisms that are available or that have to be maybe fostered, and renewable energy phase in. I mean, this is an additional component if we compare it to our global inquiry. We are aiming to raise public attention and awareness on the urgent call for the protection of the Amazon, specifically the need to stop the expansion of fossil fuel industry in the region. We are in real danger in many of our countries of this happening. I mean, additional exploration and exploitation. Collect, synthesize, and publicly share information, analysis, and recommendations from experts, stakeholders, and parliamentarians regarding the current situation and the risk that come with the fossil fuel industry's plans for expansion. In the same way, explore the opportunities that renewable energy has in the region. And lastly, in the process, generate pressure on Amazonian governments, public institutions, and corporations to scale up commitments and protection actions to stop the expansion of fossil fuel industry in the region. That's the framework will allow us to have an excellent report again that is going to be ready for COP30. Now, I would like to give the floor again to Honorable Duarte to briefly talk about the timeline, and then we'll close our event. Honorable Duarte, you have the floor.
Bem rapidamente mostrar a nossa agenda dos próximos períodos.
Briefly, I will show the timeline for the next period of time.
A reunião estratégica em São Paulo, que por sinal não estava presente, porque é uma agenda muito importante com o governador do estado do Pará.
And the first was a strategic meeting in São Paulo that I wasn't present because I had a meeting with the governor of the state that I belong, Pará.
O dia de hoje, nós estamos juntos na audiência global, né, dos assuntos globais. Hoje, aqui no Brasil, para os que não sabem, é o Dia dos Namorados, comemoramos hoje, no dia 12 de junho.
So today we have this global media lunch and also a meeting. And if for you, in Brazil, we have the Lovers' Day, the San Valentine Day, actually.
Dia 22 de agosto, de 20 a 22 de agosto, é a agenda que eu considero a mais importante no sentido de repensar o clima, porque é uma agenda regional. Então, se tem mais condições de ter elementos para fortalecer a luta na Amazônia.
And the next one that will be the one that I consider most important is the regional launching meeting in Ecuador, because we will have more elements to strengthen our strategy.
Em outubro, nós fazemos a primeira audiência pública sobre a COP16.
And in October, we will have the first public hearing.
Em novembro, fazemos a segunda na COP29 e também a apresentação do relatório preliminar para publicação na COP29. Não está na linha do tempo, mas no ano que vem teremos vários eventos, né, Pablo? e também a COP30, como anfitriã da cidade onde vai realizá-la, eu já quero convidar a todos e todas para entender a Amazônia e para entender a urgência do clima, porque quem queria ver prédios e petroleiros e agências de petróleo teve a oportunidade de fazê-lo em Dubai. Na Amazônia, nós queremos falar da luta contra isso.
So then we have the other one that will be on November, actually, that will be the presentation of the preliminary report. And another thing that will be is not on the timeline that I would like to talk about is on the next year we will have several meetings, as Pablo knows, and we have also the preparation of the COP 30 that will be in the city. And I would like to use this opportunity to invite all of you in order to understand the Amazon and the urgency that we have in climate. And for the ones that wanted to see these big buildings and this, all the companies, the oil companies, you will not see them in the Amazon because you will see something, the real combat to climate changes.
Eu tinha esquecido que tinha a agenda do próximo ano. Me apressei.
It was too hurry and I forgot that we had a presentation with the year 2025.
Em março, abril, teremos a terceira audiência sobre consistências políticas. Ainda não há lugar confirmado. E em junho, julho, teremos a quarta audiência pública sobre energia renovável. Essa que nos interessa muito a todos, principalmente os amazônidas.
So on March, April, we have the third public hearing that it's about the consistency on our policies. And there's no place defined yet. And on June, July, we will have the fourth public hearing that it's from renewable energies. So that's what is for interest for all of us.
Em setembro, teremos a quinta audiência pública sobre cooperação internacional. E eu não sei qual é a ideologia dos que estão aqui, mas eu, como sou socialista, acho que essa é uma premissa aos que são militantes e aos que não são. Acho que todas as lutas têm que ser internacionais.
So, and then we have on September, the fifth public hearing that it's regarding the international cooperation that for me, it's very important as an ideology, mainly because I'm a socialist and that's a place in order to have all the movement to have their ideas placed on.
Em outubro, teremos o lançamento do relatório de mídia e uma petição global, o lançamento da petição global. Então, também é um evento muito importante.
So in October, we will have also the launch of the report and the global petition media, the launching as well. And I do believe that this is an event that it's of extremely importance.
E em novembro, teremos na COP30, como eu havia falado, né, a COP das árvores e das florestas, teremos o relatório final e as apresentações e também a apresentação da petição global e a circulação dela. Imagino que haja uma publicação, Pablo, que a gente possa compartilhar na COP30, é isso?
So on November, we will have the COP30, that will be the presentation of the final report. And we will, I would say there is the COP of the forest and trees. And also in November, we'll have the global petition that will be probably diffused or given to everyone. Is that it, Pablo?
Thank you so much, Honorable Galvez. Oh, sorry, Honorable Duarte and Honorable Galvez. We are coming to an end on this presentation, public presentation of our Amazon inquiry. I would like to say two additional and very brief things. First of all, I would like to thank you, the team, Pablo, Adán, Dinah and Denise for everything that includes the financing for the report and also the communications and everything that make these things possible. So thank you very much. Also, we send kind regards to our colleague Juan Carlos Lozada, who is also, let's say, a founder, a father of this project, the MP from Colombia. So Juan Carlos is in his country. He has work to do and he hasn't been able to be with us today, but he will in the next steps. And also a last invitation to all of you who think that have inputs that can be useful for the report. We will be putting into place a web page in order to be able to receive all the inputs you think are important and relevant for us to consider. So this will be informed. You have, okay. The Parliamentarians for a Fossil Free? Okay. Okay, they are asking me to open the floor if there is a comment in the room, but let me finish. So we will be, informing through our social media how to get how to reach us in case you have one input you want us to consider. So before ending our session, I would like to ask if there's any questions or comments on the part of those who are so kind to be with us today. Apparently not. Oh, Raul from the Philippines. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just would like to express my and of course other parliamentarian support, though technically we are not near the Amazon, but based on what has been said, I have had a deeper appreciation of the need really to protect the area and stop any expansion of fossil fuel projects. And if I can also briefly share, not to steal the spotlight, of course, from the Amazon, but because the Philippines has what is called the Amazon of the Oceans, it's the Verde Island Passage, which is also facing a threat. In the guise of energy security, there is a plan to have a liquefied natural gas project in that area, and the big companies of the Philippines banded together for that project. So it's also a terrible idea. But yeah, because of that experience that we have, I think our struggles are all interconnected. So I really wish that the whole process for the Amazon inquiry will be successful up until its end. Good job so far.
Thank you very much. Oh. Yes, Denise, apparently we have somebody online who would like to join. Leila Salazar, the floor, go ahead. We listen.
Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Buenas noche. ¿Hablo en español o en inglés? ¿Qué es mejor?
En inglés, porque estamos personas que no saben hablar castellano.
Bueno, quería saludar primero. My name is Leila Salazar Lopez. I'm calling in from California, Ohlone People's Territory. And I'm the executive director of Amazon Watch, and we're a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to protecting, defending the Amazon, our global climate, in solidarity with Indigenous peoples. For over 26 years, we've been working very closely with communities on the front lines from Ecuador, affected by Texaco, Chevron, Petroecuador, all the oil companies that are in the northern Ecuadorian Amazon, the southern Ecuadorian Amazon, with communities who have resisted oil development on their territories, whether it be the Quechua people of Sarayaku, Sapara, Achuar, who continue to this day to protect their lands from continued oil extraction, expansion, to the Yasuni, who you all are familiar with. We have worked very, very deeply in the Western Amazon, in Ecuador, in Peru, in Colombia with the Uwa people. And we also work with communities across Brazil, who are now facing threats of oil development in the Amazon. And we think this is, is very, very concerning that there are proposals for opening up the Western Amazon and the mouth of the Amazon for offshore oil drilling. This is the last thing that we want to see happen. We've seen the devastation, the destruction, the oil debt that has strangled economies like Ecuador, and we don't want to see that happen to Brazil. So I just wanted to really just say thank you for inviting us to join. We are very committed to collaborating and working together. We also work closely with Indigenous women leaders across Brazil, including Minister Sonia Guajajara and Celia Chicriaba and Puyer Tembe. They were recently with us here in California. And we have been talking about, the idea, the vision of Celia Chicriaba around the Planet Caucus. And I feel like there's so many synergies here with her vision, with your vision, with the vision of, the Minister of the Environment of Colombia for phasing out fossil fuels. And so I could go on and on, but I just wanted to introduce myself and let you know that we are very committed to collaborating. We've written many reports over the years about the impact of fossil fuels on the Amazon and where the oil is going, because the majority of the oil that's exported is coming to California. So we are not only working to stop extraction, but we're also working to hold our government, our California state government, accountable to not import any more Amazon crude if they want to be a climate leader, because that's what everybody wants. California wants to be a climate leader. Brazil wants to be a climate leader, but there is no climate leadership with continued fossil fuel extraction, as we all know. So I'll stop there and just say that please count on us to collaborate and to work together with you all. And we're grateful that you all are taking this leadership. Gracias. Muito obrigada.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you with us. And let's continue working together and strengthening the network. It is vital, actually. We have two more participations. I'll start with here in the room. Please go ahead.
My name is Claudio Putti. I'm the local committee for COP30 in Belém. I work for the City Hall. And just a question. Congratulations on your very interesting meeting. I think we are looking for the future here. That's about the future we're talking about. I'd like to make a suggestion. There, in the event of COP30, we are in contact. And there are new networks of Amazonian cities, Amazonian social movements, and everything Amazonian that you can imagine. There's a very lively social civil society, self-organized, getting organized, but moving towards building more powerful networks. So I'd like to suggest that these parliamentarian front get in touch with some of these networks that are actually active at the Amazon. For example, we have created a network of Amazonian cities. They discuss, for example, the urban landscape in Amazonia. Amazonia is, in a certain sense, very urban. No? Most of the people in the Brazilian Amazon live in cities. And there are other networks that I think would be very interesting to have this debate spread all over our big region. Thank you.
Okay, we definitively take note of that suggestion. It is the only chance we have to coordinate, to be able, to make synergies in the end. So thank you for that comment. We will do our best effort. And since we have representatives from Brazil that are already connected in some other countries, so that's the work we have to do. Thank you very much. And I think we have a last participation online. Blessed, please go ahead. The floor is yours. Your microphone is, okay, now I think it's on. Go ahead. No. Blessed?
Thank you. So this is Blessed.
Go ahead, go ahead.
All right, all right. I hope I'm audible.
We are having connection problems. Okay. Oh, he went away. Okay. But I think he's not there. So a possibility was to write the question, but okay. If anyone would like to write something, we can still read it. We can wait for a few seconds. And if not, I think we had a great, a great moment together again. Thank you for being here with us and sharing this, I would say, joyful day in spite of the horrible challenges we are facing as humanity. And here we are, trying to provide support through the legislative branch, which is many times, a branch that is forgotten. We just think about the executive branches, but legislative branches are so important, critical, and they are plural. They include the rest of society. And sometimes it is easier to advance the cause if you are in the opposition. So we really need everybody, and that's what we are trying to say. Now, apparently, Blessed came back. And if you can hear us, you go ahead. You have the final word. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Really sorry. I think my network is really bad. I was commenting and really giving thanks to all of you that organized this discussion. I think it's very important that we think about the future, and I think COP30 is very important. And given that the Amazon region is a critical factor to us being able to fight climate change and its impacts. I would also like to probably add that we also have a similar challenge with the Congo Basin. The government of DRC actually announced that they're going to be auctioning the Congo peatlands, and I feel like there isn't really much support and mobilization towards protecting that space, which is very critical to the fight of climate change in our region, in Africa, and also in the world. So I don't know if I can be able to find any volunteers or any networks that might be able to help out in mobilizing and finding support to protect that region. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Blessed. I think, do you hear me? I mean, my micro, okay. Thank you very much. So the invitation is there. Yes, well, that's it. So yeah, you want to respond? Oh, there's an MP. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. You tell him you already reached one person, a very important one. Go ahead.
Good evening, Blessed. This is Honorable Anthony Kasandwe, Member of Parliament from Zambia. I actually chair a caucus committee called the Parliamentarian Caucus on Climate Change environment and conservation. And we do have a caucus in Southern region, which there are about 8 countries. And as Zambian caucus, we actually, through ICCF, we are planning to visit Congo. So probably we can, off this meeting, we can have an interaction, maybe exchange numbers so that we see how we proceed in that manner. Thank you.
Honorable Kasandwe, we will write your name and maybe your email on the comment, on the chat session. So, our friend Blessed has already your contact. I think it will be one way of doing this right now. So, thank you, everybody, again. And I think we made a good start. And we'll continue with the determination that characterizes this network, because here you have parliamentarians really, really committed to what we are talking about. We are really, really, we understand the challenge, and we are ready to, to make what we have to do. So thank you very much, and see you in next time we can meet. Thank you.